that who this is, the PRN you're hiring,
Yeah,
until you get somebody else?
until I can get, she's just gonna help me until I can get somebody hired, because I've got one staff, off also.
Okay.
So I only have 2 CNAs, and
Oh,
it's
wow, okay,
difficult to,
okay.
All right, I've got 10 o'clock. Rachel, if you want to do our invocation?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we do come before you with humble hearts. There's no one who can approach your throne of grace where we find help in our time of need, except that we acknowledge that you are holy and we are not. So we come before you and we hallow your name. We say, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. We know yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. And nothing summarizes the call of mankind as much as those words that Jesus taught his disciples. So may we live by them. May your wisdom prevail in this place. May you preside over this meeting today. May you move your purposes and cause them to happen through the decisions and the conversations and the insights that are given by those who are involved in this meeting. And may that happen not only at this local level, but at the state and the federal level as well. May wisdom be sought through you as these servants of yours, these officials, go about the business that you've appointed them to. And so we ask these things and trust that they will occur as we come together and unite our hearts and ask that there be unity. And we do this in the name of Jesus. We pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and call our meeting to order at 10:02 a.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Clifton.
Here.
Fitch. Here. Stansel.
Here,
All present. Can I have a motion to amend our agenda to include a hiring resolution for public health?
so moved.
Motion by Heather, is there a second?
second.
Second by Diane, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Can I then have a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the amended agenda?
So moved.
Motion from Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right. Just make a note here so I don't forget the public health resolution. All right, our next order of business is a public hearing for the Hilltop Meadows subdivision. Can I have a motion to enter into a public hearing at 10:03 a.m.?
So moved.
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Heather, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are in a public hearing for the Hilltop Meadows subdivision. Has everything been published as required?
Yes.
Have you received any written comment?
I have not from the public. I've got some other agencies, county agencies that.
All right, go ahead and give us your report, Ryan.
Okay. Ryan and Sandy Dunbar had proposed Hilltop Meadows subdivision final plat. The acreage here is 16.74 acres. They're looking to create 2 lots. Current legal use, this parcel has no building structures on it, and it's agriculturally zoned. It's currently enrolled in CRP. Relevant history, the requested area was purchased in October of 2021 by Ryan and Sandy. This parcel and the parcel to the south of it were in row crop production for a number of years and were recently enrolled in CRP, assuming by aerial photography around 2017. The summary key issues here: both lots 1 and 2 are located outside any FEMA flood zone area. Staff has determined that the CSR2 rating of this area to be a 78.5. Prime productive farmland in Madison County is known to be 70. So that's something that we should keep in mind when we're making this determination. The plat, it actually is within 2 miles of the city of Patterson. They did have a resolution from the city of Patterson completed, and it's provided with their consent and no objections for the proposed plat. Access has been approved by the Madison County Engineers Office for an existing driveway to serve both lots. There's a 40-foot ingress-egress easement on Lot 1 to gain access to Lot 2. Lot 2 does not have, or does have 50 foot of road frontage but cannot be used due to the line of sight requirements from the engineer's office. Did receive other agency comment from Conservation and Secondary Roads Engineers Department. First, I'll state that Secondary Roads stated the application for the entrance was approved on December 3rd, 22. It says, please note that the entrance shall be the entrance of record for Hilltop Meadows subdivision for lots 1 and 2. Any additional entrances or driveways for the lots in the subdivision will not be allowed. Madison County Conservation Board's comments submitted were, while reviewing the application with our resources and time-lapse imagery, our conclusion that most of the property has had disturbance in the form of row crop, pasture, or hay ground over time, up to and including 1930s imagery. It should be noted that the dominant soil type on this site is 98% Lagoda soil silt loam, with remaining 2% comprised of Gara loam. For our calculations, 62% of the land carries an 86 plus CSR rating, and 23% of the land is over a 75 plus CSR rating. The native vegetation for Lagoda soil types is oak, hickory, savanna. And then lastly, given the high CSR rating and soil types, best use should be taken into consideration for this application. Just to note, in one of the finding of facts, there was a entry in the attorney's opinion about conservation, soil and water resource conservation plan dated August 4th, 1992. I did reach out to Anna Golightly at the NRCS and kind of asked for a little bit more specific information on that. She stated that it was very similar to the county's comprehensive plan as to what goals and objectives are, and wasn't specific to this property, what they were stating there. Staff recommends denial of this request to subdivide the property as shown on subdivision plat of Hilltop Meadows subdivision to create 2 lots. Reason being, we have given consideration to the goals of the comprehensive plan that requires, and the requirements of both Madison County zoning ordinance and Madison County subdivision regulations, and found that the comprehensive plan states specifically under agricultural land use, preserve and protect prime productive agricultural land, CSR 70 and above, from development, and utilize less productive land first.
Ryan, is it currently in CRP?
I believe it is, yes.
So how many years has it been in? They'll have to pay all that back.
17, didn't you say?
Yeah, but I don't know how,
They
I don't
could
know the
re-upped
reoccurring.
it.
I don't know the reoccurring, if it's every 5 years that they do that, or 10, or what it is, so,
Depends what it's bid into.
right, the program type and such.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan, do you have anything else?
I do not.
Does anyone wish to comment on the Hilltop Meadows subdivision at this time? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn this hearing?
So moved.
Motion by Heather, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Diane, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries, that hearing is adjourned. Next item is a public hearing for the Loft Investments LLC rezoning request. Do I have a motion to enter into a public hearing?
So moved.
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Ryan, has everything been, published as required?
Yes,
Have you received any written comment?
I have not.
Okay, go ahead and give your presentation, please.
Okay, so Loft Investments LLC, property owner is the applicant for this request. They're requesting to rezone the property in section 14 of Lincoln Township, also known as 2450 US Highway 169. The property is currently zoned agricultural. The applicant is requesting approval from the Board of Supervisors to rezone parcel A 3.372 acres to commercial to allow the construction of a 60 by 100 building to be used for small-scale manufacturing of residential cabinetry. The building contains 4 offices, a small showroom. As you enter the building, there's a men's and women's restroom located in the building, and then the shop area, which will be where the manufacturing takes place, would be a 60 by 70 inside of that 60 by 100. The Madison County zoning ordinance contains the following, section 11, commercial district regulations, principal permitted use, and subsection 8 is a carpenter shop. It is staff's opinion that this proposed use fits into that, that classification, requiring commercial zoning. Section 18, district changes and amendments of our ordinance, states whenever public necessity, convenience, general welfare, or good zoning practices requires the Board of Supervisors make by resolution on its own action or by petition after recommendation by the zoning commission after public hearing, as provided herein, amend, supplement, or change the regulation, districts, boundaries, or classifications of property. We did have a public hearing with the zoning commission on May 18th, at which they had recommended approval, which is included in the packet that I provided you guys by a 4-to-1 vote. Continuing on, so the Madison County Comprehensive Plan states the following about the agricultural use. I discussed that a little bit there in the last one, CSR 70 or above. This one, in fact, is a 66.25, so it does fall under the base level there for prime productivity land. Currently, no part of this 3.372 acres is used for agricultural production. Its main use right now is just residential. The driveway entrance location on 169 has been confirmed by the DNR or DOT as sufficient with Class C access already in place. No upgrades are necessary based on traffic generation at this time. The closest residence is that of the owner, which is 120 feet to the south of the proposed building. The closest neighboring property owner residence is 970 feet from the proposed location of the building to the south and east, and it's owned by Megan Rhodes. Upon approval of the rezoning request, a Madison County business use permit will be required and must be obtained from the Madison County zoning office. And then the applicant must install an adequate private on-site wastewater treatment system as determined by the Madison County Environmental Health Department to serve their business needs and to allow customers and employees to utilize those facilities on site. And I believe that the location of the current septic system here is where the building will be placed. So it is my understanding that they are going to remove all of that, put in a new septic system that will serve both the building and the residents.
So will that have laterals then, maybe? I'll have to see
Depends on the
perks.
soil analysis, yeah. I know that they've been working with Brooke I don't know how far along that's, I do believe that there is laterals, it would just have to be relocated to a different spot. Just to go through this, that I provided you, obviously the first tab, I've got my staff report, and then I've got the zoning commission recommendation right there as well.
And you sent this,
Yeah, I sent a lot of this out there, just thought it'd be nice to have in front of you as well. The blue tab, the second tab there has got the application from Loft Investments with a copy of their business plan that was submitted behind that. And then there's also a sketch, a building plan of how the layout will be for the building.
So this is coming off of 169. How much traffic do they think they'll have going back there now?
I don't think, it's gonna be pretty minimal. I don't know. I mean, that'd be a good question for them if they're, as I believe they're in attendance, they can address that for you. I don't think it's gonna be a lot, as might be couples coming there to,
Because it's a showroom.
well, it's not really, there's not really a big showroom. So the way that it is they'll probably have drafting computers and a TV screen placed up, so they'll look at their cabinetry. It's not like there's gonna be a bunch of samples and stuff there on location. The yellow tab, I've got the affidavit of mailing, who received notification of this hearing and the zoning commission hearing. And then there's also included a map there within 500 feet of the area. Those are the people that received notification, as well as other agencies in Madison County. The orange tab, I've got affidavit of publication showing that it was placed in Madisonian, actually 2 times because I didn't get it in the last time. But besides that, and then the last one is our public hearing notice that was posted at the annex on the website, emailed to other agencies.
And no one has objected from?
I have not received any
Received
objections.
nothing.
So you said the vote was 4-1.
4-1.
Do you know the reason why the one voted against it?
I think he's very specific as to when it says in our comprehensive plan that we want to be within corporate limits or very close to.
Okay.
I think that individual takes what is in the ordinance.
Right.
And if not, we're
Okay.
not gonna vary from that in his opinion.
Okay,
So.
all right, thank you.
All right, any public comment on this hearing at this time? Yeah,
I would say, so,
Nick, can you come forward to the podium, please, state your name and address for the record?
just to touch on the wastewater part, we have been in touch with Brooke. It will be laterals. We had soil analysis done on that. As far as traffic goes, we have currently 1 employee that will be there every day, and then myself, which I live there. And in the future, I hope to add on a couple more employees, so probably the most 3 employees in that shop. So not a whole lot of traffic, and like you were saying, a couple looking at a new kitchen or bath remodels, stuff like that would be.
So is your showroom sitting on the computer and designing, or is it an actual big showroom where people would?
It's basically like a TV like you see here up on the wall, and then we could be on a computer and they can see that as we design it in front of them.
So it's not like a retail store where you have
Where they're in and out.
traffic in and out?
No,
Okay.
no,
And you're really just making cabinets for your own business use.
correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Nick?
I think that's all I got for
All
now.
right, perfect, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other comments this morning? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
So,
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. All right, the next item is a presentation from David Frank, Arcus Search. David looks like an eagle.
He wears costume today.
hearing me now, Shelley?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you
ready
hear
for me
us?
to jump in?
Yep, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, you should be good to go.
Yep, do I have any video?
Yeah.
Will I be able to see anybody, or am I looking at
Yep.
it? There we go.
I'll try and get, it's kind of hard to get everybody in there, but
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah,
That's
you
okay.
can look at yourself.
Well, I'd rather not. Good morning, everybody. My name is David Frank with Arc Research, and Shelley and I have been having some conversations about potential digital preservation of some of her older historical supervisor minutes and transfer books in her office. So she thought this would be a good time to kind of bring you guys up to speed about what we do, how we do this for county government. So I'm originally actually from Earlham. So I grew up in Earlham, have a lot of fond memories of spending time at the Madison County Fair, and so it's kind of like coming home. And then my wife and I raised our family in Adel, so we've been kind of in the central Iowa area. We did become empty nesters, and I do live in Minnesota now, so I did vacate and headed north to the land of the mosquitoes right now. So, you know, with Arc Research, what we do is it's really, so why would we do this? And why have 21 counties already selected us to do this project, this kind of project for them? There's really two main reasons that I want you to be aware of. Number one is there's the preservation aspect of it. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys the tornado that went to south of you could have veered north and it could have hit your building, right? And the one in Marshall County didn't veer and it did hit the courthouse. So, you know, tornadoes happen, water events happen, but really there's just some general deterioration of these books, these permanent record books that are in your county's possession. That's the history of Madison County. So there's an aspect of preserving and protecting these important records. And then second of all, there is a search aspect to this. And this has really become prevalent over the last couple of years. You know, we've always historically done vital records, land records, supervisor minutes, but, you know, as the pandemic happened and staff was working from home, and then the public couldn't get into these buildings, everybody realized access to information is very important. So, and then along came the ARPA dollars, and that's why we have so many counties in stages of getting this done, where they've got some ARPA dollars to commit to having this information not only backed up and preserved, but searchable. And so I'm going to touch on both pieces today. I'm going to make it quick, an overview, and then I'll let you guys ask me some questions about this process. So the first is going to be the actual capture piece. So occasionally these records are already digital, but many times they're sitting in physical books and vaults at the county. So we have specialized equipment that I'm going to show you how it works. We bring on site to the county because these books are accessed, they're really not that able to travel. So we bring our equipment and people to the county, set up, and take pictures of these books. And that's what we'll talk about first. And then I'll show you the search tools available should you do a project like this. One other thing I should mention is, you know, I've talked to a number of supervisors over the last couple of years, and, you know, all of a sudden I started getting interesting questions like, well, have you talked to our engineer? They have permanent records like road plans. How about our septic permit? People need to get to septic permits, well permits. What about our auditors? You know, there's historic property cards. So besides just the traditional recorder auditor, we're doing projects now with 3 and 4 different departments in some of the counties. Because, again, permanent records and about access. So it has really kind of evolved to other kinds of records because this is a tool for the county. Okay? That's my overview. You ready to take a look at something here? All right. Looks like, Shelley, you're going to have to disable participant screen sharing. You can give me access to share my screen.
Give me 1 second.
Yep. Anybody have any questions so far?
Not for the Zoom. Jen, do you know how to do that? To give it back to him? To allow him to screen share? Yeah. Is there any?
I'm trying to remember where it is.
Well, there's an option down at the bottom, but
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying is the screen share, but you have to give me the opportunity to screen share.
do you know back.
Security.
Oh, can't get him back, is he on this screen? Right here. I don't wanna share, he needs to share. So.
I'm looking for it as well here, see if I can figure it out.
Sometimes it's a bit tall.
Oh, that, okay, did that work?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, whatever you did.
I don't use Zoom enough.
All right, so let's take a look real quickly at captions. We have customized equipment that handles the larger books. Has anybody seen the old supervisor record books in Shelley's office, or either the flat or the transfer books?
They said, yeah, I'm trying to get you back up on the screen.
Yes,
No,
we've
I'm
seen
not on the
them.
screen yet.
No.
Okay.
There we go.
Are you seeing me yet?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
There it is. Okay,
All right, now you're looking at my.
there we go,
So,
all right.
This video is taken by a customer while we're on site. So this is a professional video, but it gives you an idea of the kind of equipment, how we do this. So books that come apart, all pen books or loose documents are captured in this manner. So the camera sits up above, points down to the screen. Every one of our cameras hooked up to an air compressor. So you can see the little pinhole down the screen. That actually draws the air down through to flatten that document. Then he reaches over and hits the yellow button to actually take the picture. So he's taking this book apart, and we're taking every individual page, digital photograph. The use of the green screen is important because we do color imaging, which you'll see here in a minute when I show you how the archive works. So the green screen is kind of used as the dropout color with the raw images you see up on the screen, but eventually we'll process and remove all that green. So that's the pen books. So the bound books have a little different camera. Again, this is brought to on site. In this case, the air compressor raises and lowers the whole platform. And so we want to get as much of the gutter as you can, because sometimes there's writing down in the gutter, but we don't want to damage the book, and we don't want to cut the book. So in this manner, it raises it up and presses it against the glass, so we get it nice and flat, and then again, it reaches over and takes a picture, and then lowers it back down. So when we talk about digital preservation, this is not the same as your traditional scanning you've seen scanners operate. Because many of these books, these older books, like this one here, have ripped pages, they're very fragile, and so in this manner, we don't want to have to redo this. We want this to be done once, and you have amazing images for the future for people to look at in Madison County. Okay, that's enough of that. So once we're done, then what do we do? Well, then we go. So then what we do is we build an individual archive for each county. And I'm going to show you the one that we just released here a week or two ago. We've done Warren County. We're currently on site down in Bedford and Taylor County with a crew. We've got a crew up in Storm Lake on site right now taking pictures like you just saw. This Winnesheet one is done. So we take those digital images that we've produced, in this case supervisor minutes or transfer books or whatever, and we produce an archive. Okay? So now they had actually some military discharge records, so we put a username, password, so their staff could just get to those. Everybody else goes in by the public access platform. So Winnesheet County is Decorah. So here's the other fun part about this, is now you have this searchable archive. And what do I mean by searchable? Well, when you have your business that you're doing there, so let's say you had something to do with, so I have browse or Word document search. I'm going to start with a Word document search. So we have something on our agenda that has to do with read. And so I'm going to, there's a grant. And so I don't know exactly, this is the problem with supervisor minutes. They're always put away by the my records. All right, now I can narrow that down if I want, by a year or a decade. So I can easily find, something, you know, if I want to get to, say 1991. So I can narrow that down from 20 pages to the one page that I want to look at. And then I can read the document, I can print the document, I can save the document. So word search is very familiar with, you know, how people find things, and it becomes very impactful. I have a supervisor with the county of Colorado.
I was afraid of that.
10 minutes.
I think we
Free
ran out
access
of
for
like
Al.
10 minutes. Your free meeting has ended.
That's one way to make sure somebody doesn't run over their time.
This is not ideal.
Put me on that.
You just have to.
Do all your meetings in
But he should have an extra 2 minutes for texting.
Yeah, he should, yeah.
For some reason, they'll probably make me do that next year.
When you do your engineering report, we'll do it on a 10-minute Zoom. Jen, is this a very great upgrade of microfiche? This is just a very new and improved of microfiche? I mean, way, I know, but
They're digital images, they're great images, yeah.
because hospitals, everything many years ago, when I worked, was all microfiche, which proved to be fabulous. It was a matter of record you could always pull up.
But you couldn't do a word search on microfiche.
No, you could not,
This is,
but
that's
this is,
pretty
I
slick.
love this, this is great. We had it in my old job, but it was the scanned in, but now this is so much better. I wonder how much it's
I emailed the proposal to you, Denise.
Oh, yes, we did. Thanks for putting up your hands.
He said he did it. Sorry. Okay, so are we back?
We're back.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna connect you back real
Your
quick.
Zoom call just ended.
Yeah, free version doesn't give me very long.
No, I didn't talk fast enough, obviously.
It's okay.
And if you want to give me the rights to share my screen, I'm just about
Yeah.
done. I was doing a couple more searches,
Yep.
and I'll take questions.
Perfect.
It's on page 12.
Okay, you should be good to go again.
I am, there we go.
Hooray, okay.
All right. Let's go back to one sheet real quick here. All right, so, I don't know what you heard, but you can do word searches on topics. You can say, we have something about a festival in town. So you can just type in the words festival and look across all your typed minutes. The key is that these are the typed minutes, which most of your minutes back during the 1900s would be typed. So I did the word on festival. You see I've got 7 pages that are found. And this is finding different pages throughout your minutes throughout the time. It brings them all up, gives me a little snippet here. If this is the festival fashion show, this is the outdoor festival, this is the one-day festival, here's a music festival, a couple of music festivals. So if I can identify, you know, that I want, which one I want to look at, I can click on any one of these and open up the document, okay, and read up about it. So a topic, a person's name. I looked one earlier. If someone had the name of Finch, okay. name that fits. I had 93 pages, but what I was really looking for was a person by the name of Isabella. So rather than looking through 93 pages, I put in Isabella Fish, and it has to be Isabella Fish right together, not just Isabella on one part of the page. When I do that, I have one document from 1920. It talks about giving Isabella Fish approval for soldier's widow exemption right here. So there's her name, Isabella Fish. So word search is actually reading this typed content, and then it's bringing you back pages that meet the search criteria. So as creative as you get with finding things, you don't want to look through 10,000 of them, but you might just get one, you might miss something. But word search is a very powerful way to find things. So then if you want to just look at some of the older handwritten, you can always go to browse and choose one of the older records. So I have supervisor records up, and let's go to something older, back in the 1800s. So now it's bringing back the entire book, book C, which is 1880 to 1890. And I can just begin reading this document. Want to go to the next page, I can hit the button right here, and I'm basically browsing my way through this book. If I wanted to, if we've noted when the next year begins, so this is as good as it gets on the handwritten, but you can at least jump to the beginning of 1882.
That's beautiful penmanship.
Yeah, it's
I bet
deteriorating.
the word search doesn't work on it.
Beautiful.
Some of it's very difficult to read.
So they can he hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing, yep.
So, it can search even cursive?
No, I just browsed to this, so I just went to
Okay.
this under browse. I can select any book I want, and what I did is I selected from the drop down of all the different years, I selected book C, and then it brought me back all of book C. It's 314 pages, which is different than bringing me back individual pages on a particular topic. So the handwritten, you do have to do it like this, but you can see it looks just like the book. Obviously, when we're all done, it looks just like the book, good, bad, or ugly.
So you just click
so-
through the pages?
Yep, you just click through the pages right here, the double arrows. And again, if you know what year you want to look at, we did at least give you the ability to choose the year. So I'm just going to pull down. If I want to begin in 1882, looks like right here is probably when January would begin with that, and it'll jump me in the book to that page when we began in January on the right side here.
David,
So,
you're
yes.
actually using the Winnebago County website right now?
Yes, I am.
Wow, that's really quick.
Yeah, well, we're hosting it, but this is the link that's on the Winnebago. This is a live production site. This is not a test site.
Right.
So this is a hosted site that we give them the link, and you could, I didn't go on their site to get the link, but it would be the same thing. And yes, it's very fast. We figured a way to handle the color images, and it doesn't, really bog things down. Obviously, you have to have a good internet to do this.
So once this is complete, then we own this. We don't,
There's an annual.
there's
That's
an
correct.
annual, okay.
That's correct. So
Oh.
here's the way it goes. We come on site, we take the pictures, we go back to all the processing, we build an archive for you, we provide you a link. Now we're hosting those images, but we also then are going to give Madison County hard drives of all the images that we took. Okay, those are your images. Even though we're hosting the ones that you're looking at, we don't own them. They're not our images. They're always your images. Because we're going to ask you to pay us each year to continue to host them and make these certain tools available. Okay, but you also have backup images. So in 5 years, you say, you know what, nobody's using this. You can turn us off. You get the opportunity every year to say, no, we're not going to pay for that, and you still have those images that we gave you when we did the project. So, in 6 years I've been doing this, I've had a couple of colleges that have done that because they've had tough times, but I've not had one county yet that has done that because they want to keep adding additional things because, they love the search tools and it really works for them. But you have that opportunity. They're your images. There always will be your images.
So the annual fee's about that $3,000 a year to keep you hosting it?
Correct. That's the annual fee for this content. And then if in year 2, maybe Brandy wants to do a project, and she wants to put her grantee books in here, which again, many counties are different departments. We'll do a project proposal for Brandy. It'll be this much to take their pictures of her books, and it may add $800 to the archive or whatever it would be, depending on how many pages she's putting in there. So it's really based on how many pages of records that we're storing
sure I understand correctly. Are you saying that the word search or the topic search will not work on the records that are all handwritten?
You got it, absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but which, you know, for the minutes, it's not much of a problem because minutes start to be typed in the early 1900s. So typically when you want to find something, you got 100 years worth of history, you're going to probably find it. Now, if we look at the transfer books, which is another thing that Shelley is looking at, the transfer books for most counties are handwritten. So the word search isn't the most effective way. So what we do on transfer books is we separate every page by section, township, range, or subdivision, block, and lot. So you can search like this, and then, you still seeing my screen okay?
So you just put in your section and township and you can pull it up that way?
Right, you pull up section, township, range, and then it's gonna bring you back pages from different books that meet the criteria that I've asked for. Again, in this case, section 6, township 97 north, range 8 west. And it's gonna bring back, again, pages from different books, as soon as my internet catches up with me here. Sorry for the delay, there it comes. So I have 8 pages, and this county wanted them to be from the most recent pages going backwards. So here's the first transfer book that met that criteria, and I can just, you know, if I look here, you can see that I brought back pages. I brought back 2 pages from book 9, 2 from book 6, or 3 from book 6, and 3 from book 2. So again, it's just following that property back in time with the transfer information. So that's we built the search tools to kind of match the type of records that they are. And this is how people want to search for transfer books. Obviously, the minutes is typically words searches, how they want to search for those. And if we're doing septic permits, we'll probably have a septic permit that you can type in and you can find it that way. So the search tools are kind of modified to match the type of records search people are being asked to put in.
So if the pricing that you provided to us is solely for the auditor's office, or?
Nope, that's the only project that we've scoped for you at this time. So
Okay.
Shelley saw this demonstration, she invited me to come take a look at her collection. I went there, I measured, counted books and pages, and kind of basically got a good idea of how many books and pages she had, built a proposal. That's all that's been done so far for Madison County.
Okay. So if we have other departments that say, hey, this is pretty cool, we'd like to do it, there would be a one-time cost for them, and then,
He would just.
an additional cost for the annual hosting?
Yep, we build them separate proposals for each department, but as long as they're all playing well together, I really encourage the use of a single archive. I have some counties that are building multiple archives, and there are some reasons for that, but most of the time I think, it's really cool to have one archive where you can have content, especially for the public, to get to and find a variety of things. And the best use is to do it so we can come on site one time. Like we're on site in Bedford, and we're doing 3 different departments. And that's when you're going to save some money because we're bringing the equipment there, and we can capture everything while we're there, and then we'll build the archive. So, if you thought there was other departments, then I would probably discourage you from signing Shelley's deal and saying, let's get going. You should probably have me meet with some of those other departments and see if there's anything else that you think makes sense. Unless, I don't know whether you have ARPA funds you're planning on using for something like this, or if it just has to go into budget. But if you did think there were multiple ARPA departments, it's more financial sense to try to combine them and get them done at the same time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that, David. As far as ARPA funds, we do have some, but we have some kind of major construction projects we gotta get buttoned up first before we know how much we have.
Okay.
So my initial thoughts anyway would be to put this on our wish list. When construction's done, we can consider it then.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure, it's great.
But it looks really slick, very
Yeah.
impressive.
Very impressive.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you very much. And if you do have any other departments that you want me to reach out to, I'd be glad to. And typically I would start with a Zoom like this, and I'll specifically show them the kind of records that they may have. So just let Shelley know, and then put me in contact.
Super, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to resolutions, let's consider the public health one first before I forget that. Do I have a motion to approve the public health hiring resolution?
So moved.
I have a motion from Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, all in favor, any further discussion, excuse me? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign, motion carries. We have 3 EMS hiring resolutions. For EMTs, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, that's fine. Second.
Motion, okay, motion by Heather, second by Diane, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next, the resolution is approving a work agreement between Madison County, Secondary Roads, and Jackson Lonaker. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Heather, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have a couple secondary road resolutions approving temporary road closing, one on North River Trail and one on 200th Street both for culvert replacements, which are now completed even. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Heather, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Diane, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries. Our next resolution is approving the final plat for Hilltop Meadows subdivision. This is the first hearing that we had today. Let me find the resolution here.
And this is the one where the staff recommended not to
That would be
approve.
correct.
The high, real high CSR.
Do I have a motion, one way or another?
So moved to deny.
I have a motion from Diane to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of denying the request indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is approving a rezoning request for loft investments from agricultural to commercial. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion from Heather. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Diane. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have a motion to approve an application for a temporary liquor and wine license for Great Caterers of Iowa for John Wayne Birthplace Celebration. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Diane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is a motion to approve a annual renewal for the Madison County Livestock and Fair Association. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Heather. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Diane. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we have a motion to approve a courthouse use application for the Quilt Festival in Monumental Park on Saturday, June 3rd. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Diane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Heather. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to other business. Board member reports. Anybody have anything to report on since our last meeting?
I do. I had a landfill meeting. I've been working with Homeland Security, trying to get that $1 million loan, or no interest loan I received for our landfill forgiven. They say they can't do it retroactively because they don't know how to write the verbiage. I said, just write the check.
How'd that go?
Not real well.
I thought this money was from the state did a.
The state did, and they did change, I did rewrite Iowa code, and they did approve that 95 to nothing. But I suppose they figure, this is never gonna happen again, that a tornado totally wipes out a landfill. I've used the argument that we are the only landfill in south central Iowa, the rest are transfer stations. And I said, it's really hard to swallow when you spend $10 million on Field of Dreams and I can't get a landfill. So they just keep having me talk to different people, and I'm not gonna give up on
Who
this.
has the authority to do that?
Huh?
Who has the authority? to
Well,
do
Homeland Security, and they're saying, we don't know how to write the verbiage. I said, I don't care how you write the verbiage, write the check.
So the money doesn't come from the state, it comes from the.
It comes from the state, administered through Homeland Security. They did give us the $1 million, no interest, but I want it forgivable. I did rewrite the code to say in a catastrophic environmental event, we could have 5 million, borrow up to 5 million, no interest, but the first million being forgivable. Because this is a long-going environmental, because we don't have a landfill.
Right.
Well, that was approved, but now they don't know how to write it. So,
Maybe you have to raise that form too.
Will that take another action from the legislature to do that?
I'm working, I'm finding out, and now they're all gone, so
Yeah.
this is not good. But I'll keep working on this. Also, let's see, I can wait under new business. We are working on, we've all had various meetings, handbooks and all that stuff. We did get the kid art back for raising money for the courthouse. We have practiced on, my grandkid, I begged him for artwork so we could practice on how to put them together and how to, and see, we've made mistakes, we're learning. This is upside down, how to bind these, and this is what they like about Madison County. This is, and on the kids in the school, they write on the inside. And it's, so there's stories on the inside of the first page. They like that we have a vet that fixed their cat so they can sleep with their cat. They like that grandma lives here. They like Frosties. It's very cute. So I took them, the school would like us to return them so they can open it up so their parents can come in and purchase their own kid's journal. We're calling it a journal. We think we'll go to 50 pages because we're gonna have a meeting again tomorrow.
And just so the public understands what this is for, do you wanna kinda give a brief explanation?
So the public understands, I requested the schools write what they like about Madison County. I think when you have skin in the game and the public, they care about the courthouse, and all their proceeds will go to the courthouse restoration. So the kids, now this kid is a little different. Most of them are more like third grade. It's real cute, more stick people, but this is the one I practice on. This kid let me. And so that's what we've done. We only made one because one of the schools wanted the artwork back. So we had to copy it. And then the ones that the parents don't purchase, then we'll sell them at the Bridge Festival. It's just a blank journal, whatever you want to call it. And that's what we're doing. It's involved the schools. Winterset participated, all their schools. Earlham and Interstate did not, but they want to do it next year. So I have to see how this goes if we do it next year. But that's what we're doing. Just trying to get people involved and work together. And it was really successful. The kids are really, really cute. So that's what I've been doing.
Okay, thanks, Diane. Heather?
Sure.
In our joint meetings, the handbook and stuff, I had an NPO meeting, I had a few Iowa workforce meetings. I met with several vendors regarding website improvements / updates. I have a couple more meetings scheduled for those. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to report.
I had, same meetings we all had, but I had an aging resources meeting. One of the biggest things there is working through some of the government reorganization of state government and how that's gonna look going forward. And still working through that a little bit. The organizational chart is rather convoluted, but they'll work through that. That's really all I had. Any old business?
Diane, did you hear anything more from the court, the judicial regarding the changes and stuff anymore?
Most counties have, Polk County will no longer attend. Most counties are not going to attend the meetings because we have no, the state's taken it over. It'll be all under the Department of Corrections, so I don't know why we'd go to a meeting.
So are you
We're
not
safe.
gonna go to those meetings anymore?
I might go to one or two just to see what, I really think this is a huge mistake, and I think the counties are really angry. But if you listen to the speech the other day, I think they're really pushing towards 4 districts in this state. They are getting rid of all the courthouses and having 4 districts. And you're seeing it in Iowa Workforce, the 5th Judicial. I think that's this big push is we're going to be 4 districts and that's it.
Well, with Iowa Workforce, that was a grassroots led, that wasn't a state push down led, but I think the pressure came when the state said, hey, we're gonna hold you all liable for this and then not provide the resources.
That was my board. It came right off of CTEC, and when I attended all those meetings, it was, they really wanted it in Polk County. They did want it in all districts, and the counties pushed back so hard that, but I think by making them liable, it's gonna push it to one.
Right. So you have the whole western half of the county, of
Yes.
the state, that's now basically one big district.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. So I think it'd be good if you still go to that meeting, just so we kind of have an idea of what their plans are, so then we're aware of
I
them.
think I know what their plans are, and they wouldn't answer any questions at the meeting.
Okay.
There is also rumors to get rid of COGS.
Can they do that?
It doesn't have any.
Those are private.
They wanna
entities, though.
combine them.
Uh,
Which would-
We know who would know whose tail would be wagging the dog in that case.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, Diane.
He said if I said that, he would deny it.
All right, new business, website vendor, Jen.
Hi, yes.
Oh, I
In
have this.
February, I started going through looking at different vendors. I got input from other IT managers for counties in Iowa and came with basically 3 different vendors. And essentially what a lot of them are doing is placing the design, you know, they just build it and then they throw it at you and you've got to manage it and take care of all of it. This particular vendor really stuck out, mostly for their commitment to elections and how that is done through the county, and they staff more through the elections. They're 24/7, which we don't have now. And while we have a good website, theirs are just outstanding. And every example they've shown, they're outstanding. They have given us an idea of what a project with them would look like. And if you go to page 16, it lays out the dates and how they would kick it off. Every single elected official and department head would be able to tell them exactly what they want. We get it set up. They work with our system of record, so we could basically use what we existing system of record that we already have to do things. Then on page 17 is the costs involved. So this would significantly reduce our website costs going forward. I know it sounds big out of the chute, but if I get my contract signed just right, I can pay for the majority of it and basically switch some money around so I can pay for all of it out of my budget.
Wow.
Then after that, we would see we essentially would see savings, cost savings, make up the money I had to shift, see that cost savings at our 1-year anniversary mark, and then going forward after that, it cuts it by about $10,000. So we'd be saving that every year after.
When did we look at this last, and we considered getting away from Solutions, and Solutions did some upgrades and we went that
Right.
way. Has that been a couple years ago?
Yes, we did that 2 years ago. We had them upgrade, we had them. And so with, my biggest fear was our system of record, but many counties are doing multiple different, like they have one for their law enforcement, they have one for their recorder, one for auditor, so I know that Solutions will work with this.
So this is able to interface with Solutions from a retrieval standpoint?
Yes, and it will not look like, the presentation will not resemble Solutions at all. So it's so wild, you know, you go into our website, you can go to document locator and you see, it will not look like that.
I kind of like the old website.
Right. Well, okay, so there are 2 really great examples of work that they've just done. Marion County and Worth County, they, right out of the chute, our cost drops $50,000 unless we have little things that we find, like maybe Mike finds something that he wants to include, we can get them on board with that and they can,
Just add it in.
yeah.
How much is that to make all these add-ins?
You know what, I don't know, because I've never done add-ins as far as like, oh, hey Jim, I found this app that I wanna put on the site. But they include a lot of social media sites. Most of our departments have, well, not most of them, I'm sorry. Like Jason has a social media site, auditor's office has one, Mike has one, and at the secondary roads. They will include it on there and they will make it presentable. We're looking for uniformity. And so like, for instance, we have a new thought on elected officials' pictures. Everybody, every 4 years or whenever your term is up, you win, we get a new picture. So you're not using 20-year-old pictures on a website if they want it. If you don't want your picture on the site, no big deal. And they're all gonna be standard and they're gonna look the same across departments.
So you're working with this company and you're working with companies?
So there was no communication, unfortunately. So, a while ago, I went to Jen because I was not happy with the website, because, you know, I've had complaints from members of the public and say, hey, and, you know, she gave some good ideas, and I said, okay, well, you know, she said, let me know what you'd like to see. So when I started doing, after our budget time, because we were busy, I started interviewing vendors just to see what was out there, and to get an idea. And then I talked to the same one that she talked to, who then told me that he had provided her a bid. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. And I invited her to my call. So we had the same great idea, just didn't talk to each other. So, but anyway, so a lot of what these folks do is very similar across other companies. When I met with them, I was very impressed with the product. However, there were some things in there that I think would warrant going to an RFP because it's similar things that other companies have. For instance, I would like to see a website that's ISO certified. They're not. I would like to see FedRAMP ready. I wasn't able to find anything that whether or not they're Fed. Those are all security standards. Whether or not that's a deal killer, I don't know. But the pricing is a little high, but it is a very good product. One other thing that I wanted to have us discuss is that this is a proprietary thing. So should we ever decide to change vendors, the only thing we can take with us is the data. We can't just pick up the website, move it to a new web hosting company and run off. We would have to spend the money again to rebuild it. So for instance, not that I'm for or against this, but some companies do a WordPress platform, which is open source, which means you can actually pick the website up and go to another web hosting company that you would rather have them do it. And then they can help you develop the website. And again, the same data off our current website can go on that. So all this stuff is very similar. It all depends on what the board wants to do, because there's different aspects. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to work with Jen and actually create a formal RFP of all the things that we want to see and see how they respond and the cost factor too. So, because you can have a brand new website on a WordPress anywhere from $5,000 to something like this, which is $6,000 with a $2,000 annual hosting fee. Well, if you do a WordPress, your hosting fee is going to be significantly less than that annually. So, but I do want to see a different website. I think it's time. I think the public expects things to be able to do on a website that they can't do right now. I'd like some more automation, so each of the departments have more control over their aspect of the website. I think there's value there, and they do have that here, but it's also something that other companies offer as well. So since there is such a diverse cost factor and options, and whether or not we want to work with a company that's proprietary software or we want to work with more open source so we have more control, those are all questions I think we need to discuss because there's such a wide range in cost here.
Isn't it maybe important, it confuses me, Jen's working on it, and then when this board, when you called the same company,
I did not know that this was going on because
Maybe
the
you
last
should have asked
conversation,
Jen first.
the last conversation I had with her is to find out what you like to see, and that's exactly what I did. So I was a little surprised, but you know what, she is being proactive and that's great.
What's
So
her
what-
job?
As soon as I found out, I invited her to talk with me about that, but, because of my background in IT, and because I come from that entity, I would have hoped that we could have worked together on that. But I would like to see an RFP for this, a request for proposal, so we can get formal bids, so we make sure, that it has everything on there that, department heads want, what I'd like to see, what the board would like to see, that kind of thing. And it also provides the correct, to be honest with you, security parameters. So they do have some security, but they're not ISO certified. I have talked to other companies that are. That's a standard for that's a very high standard for security. I'm also a bit concerned that they host their website on Amazon. Amazon in the past has shut down people's sites if they didn't like what people were doing on their site politically. That is a concern with me. I did not discuss that with the vendor, because that's something that I thought, if it's not important to the board, then it's not important to the board. So, so those are all things I wanna work through. I think this is a very good start. But these are conversations I think, I would like to have a little bit more in depth based on the meetings I've already had with these 5 other vendors.
I don't disagree with any of that. One thing I'm getting hung up on is an RFP's fine, but it's not like you're getting a bid to replace the carpet and whoever replaces the carpet is gonna basically be the same. Websites, there's a little bit of a, so this, I like this better than that, but you're $4,000 more expensive, but I think you're well worth it,
Well,
you know?
we'll do it the same thing we did with the panic buttons. So you have an RFP, and then you have a technical rating system. So did they meet the technical requirements of the RFP? And then you have a pricing, review. So under Iowa code, we have to choose the lowest bid unless it has to be the lowest responsible bid. So if a company does not meet the technical requirements, we're not required to take the lower bid. We take the lowest bid of the one that meets the most requirements, unless the board decides differently, of course. But that's how we would do it, is we basically have a list of what our requirements are, and then we would see which company met that.
For a lot of things, you can do that, but there's certain aspects of this that there's gonna be a little bit of subjectivity to it.
Not if the RFP is written correctly. And I wrote IT RFPs all the time when I was at my previous jobs. So I think working together with Jen, we can get something out there. I think because there's such a big cost difference, I'm uncomfortable paying this unless I know that it meets all the requirements that we need. And that's not saying Jen didn't already do that, but if we are gonna be paying $16,000 of taxpayer money, I wanna be able to show that to the taxpayers, this is why, it will give you all these things that we can do, upfront, and it justifies spending this kind of money. Because there are other companies out here that are proprietary, that have similar aspects, but I don't have that cost. And I wouldn't have that cost unless we put it out to bid. And I wanna make sure we get the most bang for our buck. And while I think this is an excellent entity, based on the fact that, you know, I have talked to other companies, I think we should do the due diligence in doing the request for bid.
I don't think that hurts. I would, from what I've seen here, I'd really like to see a presentation just like the one we had earlier today. It would go a long way for me to know where we're at, but if we were to get an RFP and select 2 or 3 finalists on that, then they could probably do that.
Right.
Yes, and that's what I was looking for, is we narrow it down to what the board thinks is a good, and then invite each of those vendors to come in and do a presentation. But we need to actually do that first, because there may be things that you guys wanna see or have. Like for me, I'm gonna focus on the security aspect, because that's important to me, based on past experience. But you may want,
He's
you know,
a navigation, I think is.
right, well, yes, of course, and you might want something different, and a department head might want something different, and I wanna make sure that we have everything together on what they like to see. Because this, going forward, is gonna be a way the public interacts with a lot of county government. is there's an expectation that you can do more stuff online, that it's easy to navigate, easy to find. And I think I would like to see something like that and have the finalists come in and do a presentation.
There's so many moving pieces, then you get back to some of the permitting software that we have, and getting that to interface and everything is.
Well, that would be a simple link on our website, that would not necessarily be interfaced with that. They would just go to that page and then they would link off and jump off on that, kinda like.
No different than what this
Right,
earlier presentation.
right, but there are significant improvements out there that are available, and that, there are capable vendors out there to do that. So I would like to see presentations of at least 3 finalists.
Why don't we have IT get 3 companies and bring us 3 presentations?
Well, but I don't want just random companies, I want people where, that
She
they
can do
submitted,
that.
they submit.
Well, it's an
we gave
RFP,
her-
anybody that wants to submit one can submit
Correct,
one.
do that.
correct.
Jen, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, so, I guess, go ahead and get the RFPs. If we don't get it done before June,
June's like next week.
yeah, well, I'm gonna have to start signing contracts again, so, I just we're gonna have another year with solutions, so.
Well, it's gonna take time to migrate, so I think that's normal. I mean, I understand you wanting to.
And I'm
do that.
not a website designer, so the whole concept of WordPress sites,
But I think we need to go through you.
well,
before we go
no,
through-
Heather can do all the RFP process and do all the things that she wants. And you guys vote and I'll do what's expected of me.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be leaning on her greatly to help write the RFP because she has background on the website that I don't. Also, she interfaces with department heads more than I do, so her input is crucial, I think. And I can certainly sit with her and go through some of the stuff that I thought were good things from other vendors. For an IT, a website RFP is not gonna be as complicated as a normal RFP, because basically it's just a checklist. Can you do this, yes or no? So I don't expect that it's gonna take that long to work through. And I don't disagree with you regarding WordPress, Jen. This is a lot more user-friendly, but again, those are things to consider. There's also, it's a lot cheaper to do WordPress, and there's the ability to pick up and move, so we're not doing it again. But there were, some of these other vendors I talked to came highly recommended, so I would like to see what's out there, so at least do our due diligence, and then I can work with Jen, we can figure out what 3 ones they think blew us out of the water, and then we can come and present to the board. What do you guys think about that?
I think that makes sense.
I would prefer not to be a part of that process, if we can just have Heather do it, and then present it and the board can vote, and then I'll pick it up and go.
I don't like that the board's doing stuff on their own without involving the department heads though.
Well, that's
But
not
she's
my,
involved, but
that's
she
not my
involved me,
intention.
but at this point, we just rely on Heather's RFPs, and then I'll just follow suit, is when you decide who you like, I can pick it up and take it.
That's what you want?
Yes.
All right.
So then we would narrow it down to 3 based on the responses.
Well,
and
all the
then-
department heads need to have a weigh in too.
Of course, yeah. No, I'm gonna write the shell and then, do an initial list and then ask for inputs from each of the department heads and what they'd like to see. So you guys, I'll do the RFP and then we would pick 3 finalists and then give it to Jen and have her work to do a presentation, and how do you wanna
I
do
think
that?
so. What you're really, with the timelines you're talking about, you're talking.
Yeah, so we'll
this
have
is a-
another
this-
year of
We're a
solutions.
year out.
Right, so we can start again in like next February.
Cause you're gonna run June 30th, you're done.
Well,
Right.
yeah, well, we should probably make the decision no later than next budget session, because it's gonna take
Yeah.
4 or 5 months.
There's no
to-
reason we can't make a decision
Excuse me.
this
Right.
later this summer or in the fall.
Because it's
and
just
then
wait for the budget. Yeah.
Implementation to be,
Because it's gonna take them
July 1.
4 to 6 months to actually do it. So
Okay.
we wanna make sure it's done before the next budget year, so we're not signing yet another
Yeah,
contract.
no, I think that makes sense, and we can make the decision all
And
of
I-
next year.
Okay.
or
I have
this year.
something under new business when you're ready.
Oh, no, the items that are on there first. Next we have supervisor phones. I'm not sure where this came from. They'd always worked,
I'm
the
confused too.
way my phone had always worked in the past, if it was the main supervisor number or my personal number, it rang at my desk.
Yeah.
I've not gotten a call at my desk for some time, but the phone that's at Beth's old desk rings regularly. And it almost always says anonymous caller when that phone rings. So I've not been answering that
Or a
phone.
solicitor.
But when something goes through the main supervisor voicemail, that shows up on my phone as well as my own personal
Mine
voicemail.
too. They-
And then what we've always done is if it was on the group line, 75% of the calls that come in there are a simple question that any one of us can answer or relay them to the appropriate channel. And sometimes it's a call for someone specific in which we take a note and put it on their desk or whatnot. So I'm not sure, to my way of thinking, it wasn't broke, but I'm not sure what we're trying to fix here.
Well, on the email, do you, because on the website was another number
Mhm.
and your picture, was that changed by?
I requested the change because I had made a request to IT and it didn't happen, so I just did it myself.
So
I
you went through
updated my-
solutions on your own?
Yeah,
So what's the situation with the phone numbers changing?
well,
Don't you
well,
have a
I
private number?
requested, because I requested, I wanted a direct number like you guys have.
You have never had one?
Nope.
Yes, you do.
No, no, no,
You were
let me finish,
assigned
let me
the-
finish.
you were-
I wanted a direct number that was not shared with anybody else, and I wanted my own voicemail not shared with anybody else, just like you guys. So I requested a new number. Jen said it wasn't in the budget, which is fine. I get that. So what I did was I said, well, let's just switch the vacant number that's not in use, which is Beth's old number. It's, like you said, it just rings anonymously. And we'll just flip flop it. So I'll take that on my desk, and then the main number will be on that phone, and whenever we have a board clerk, that will be his or her number. So, I did not hear back for over almost 2 weeks on that, so again, because that's not the number I wanna be contacted by from the public, so I went in and changed the number,
But
added
you
my
don't have a
picture.
private number?
No, I do not.
Didn't Aaron's just automatically
Yeah.
go to you?
Yeah, it was Aaron's number.
That was
number
Aaron's
put-
number.
I
You didn't have a
understand that,
private
but that's the main published number for the Board of Supervisors. So I get your calls, I get your calls, I get everybody's calls, and then you can go into my voicemail and check my messages. I don't have a dedicated number with my own voicemail.
It wasn't like that. I mean, that is how it's always been. You guys have your own separate lines, and then
The
Aaron's
physical
line.
lines, but
I-
the phone number I'm talking about.
No,
So
Aaron had never had a sole, he did not have, that was his number, was the Board of Supervisors number.
Oh, so he didn't have,
No.
like, he never did?
So that's why I requested a new number, and it wasn't in the, we couldn't add another number because that's added some more money to the budget, which is fine. So since that's number was still, we're still paying for it, it's still in use, I asked to switch it to mine. It wasn't done, I didn't know what the delay was, so I went in and I just called Solution and said, hey, put my picture up here, change my phone number up there, so there's a number that's valid for the public to call me.
I swore I saw 3 private line numbers plus the main one.
No, the main one was Aaron's
Aaron's.
number,
Oh.
period, yeah.
So going forward though, I think what we could is, I think it makes the most sense for our board clerk to have a main number anyway.
But if,
And then,
But
but
we
she's
have
not
our
there,
private
she's not
lines.
there 40 hours a
right,
week.
but we can
Well, it's
still,
already
If
been
the-
swapped.
if
I've
the main
already
num-
swapped it,
Yeah.
so Heather's line is Beth's line.
okay, great.
Okay, and then
And,
if the main board of supervisor number rings, does it ring on all 4 phones?
That's the way it's programmed,
It
but it
does.
works that way.
It does, it rings in on hers, and I sometimes answer it, and it's never been anything but, robocalls and.
Okay.
Well, now it rings, if you switched it, now it rings on Beth's number, right? So we could still check the voicemail on that phone, right? It would be
Yeah.
that, it would be that voicemail passcode, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be
So-
no different than what you do now, you could just go to that phone that's sitting by the window to check the voicemail.
Well, right
Or
now,
you
it
can
works
check it from
perfectly
your-
fine. I have 2 different
Mhm.
boxes on my phone. One's my private one, one's the group one, and I can answer, pull messages on either one.
Oh, okay, so you can pull them on your desk phone then?
Absolutely, I
Oh,
can.
so, okay. Yeah,
It works
because,
perfectly fine,
I
but it
can't
doesn't
pull
ring.
your
the-
messages on my
No,
phone.
you can't.
No,
I
but
can't
you-
pull yours, or I can't pull yours.
so
I
the
can
only
pull-
line that rings on my, before she made the change, the only line that rang on mine was the main number, I didn't have.
She didn't make the change.
So I don't
Well,
get,
no, she switched it.
I don't believe the
switched
main
it.
number rings at night. I guess I don't know.
Right, it should, but maybe it doesn't. I mean, I've got it programmed to do that.
Okay, well, that sounds like that's
So-
resolved, it sounds like as long as the number that had been Beth,
So all three of you now have
Now
Aaron's
have.
old number.
which is the group one.
Right, and then Beth's phone
And
would
when we have a
get,
board clerk, that
Mhm.
number should ring at all 4 desks.
and yeah,
Which-
with that phone being, with the Beth phone being Aaron's old number, period.
Okay.
Which is the board of supervisors.
Yes,
Not
correct.
Aaron, it's everyone's.
Right,
name.
correct.
Okay,
Right.
because
So-
even when Beth was there, if we were both in the office at the same time and that number would ring, either one of us could answer.
Right,
So,
so
all
the
right.
only number that rang at my desk was 3225.
I
So
did
now
not
you-
realize that you did not have
Yes,
a private number.
yeah, so you made the change, so now at my desk, the 3225 number and Beth's number rings?
You'll have to move the phone.
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
You'll have to unplug Beth's phone and plug it in where yours is at. It's a VoIP phone, the
Okay.
phone has the numbers on the phone.
Okay, so.
But that will accomplish what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, all right.
all right, well, because I thought it worked perfectly fine for me, and like I said, most of the stuff that comes in that general supervisor number is 75% of the time, it's a question anybody can answer. All right,
I have something under new
Yes,
business.
go
I was informed yesterday that the court systems is going to go in and get rid of all of our furniture and put in what they want. So there are a lot of tables and a lot of chairs, and they said they would remove them and get rid of them. I said, no, you won't. We will remove them and get rid of them, because it's ours.
what are they gonna do?
They want to put all new tables, all new chairs. In the jury room, they want all new, they're gonna keep the tables, they want to get rid of a lot of chairs, the old wooden ones. There's a real big, long table, they want all of it gone. So, I would like, if it's okay with you, I'll go up with Chip, we'll, write it all, make an inventory. And none of it is historical, I can have Linda come if
Okay,
you
that was
want.
my question is, like in the jury box, those chairs are
The
historic.
jury boxes will stay, it's those old wooden ones that we have in our office. I think some of them I'll swap them out and put them in our office because they're better than what we have. If it's all right with you, we'll put them all on a list and we'll decommission them. I'll get Linda and Jared, there's nothing historical though. And then,
They're keeping the public, for lack of a better word, pews.
Yeah, it's
yeah, the pews are staying.
Okay.
But like I
It's
said, that
just-
stuff is historical, in my mind.
It's just some of these chairs that I think they can't slide and they're hard to move about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if you're in
That's
there
my
for,
guess.
if you're debating the jury for a week, yeah, I get that.
And then there are some, if it's okay after I get them all, the list for you, before the landfill, all they had for furniture was what the county gave them from here. So if there's anything usable that they want,
Like
Oh.
tables and chairs and stuff.
yeah, and I don't know if there is, the school's getting rid of all their stuff, and I told them to go down and
I
take.
drove by there yesterday, it looks like a bunch of vultures waiting for the next
It's
thing.
just
to get down.
unbelievable. It was, just, and they're having a terrible time getting it out of there because they have to carry it.
So are they so are we,
It sounds like Chip said they want this done quickly, so I will get that done so we can get it on our
so
next.
do we have enough people to help do that?
Oh, this stuff is easy carryable, this
Okay.
isn't anything, there's one big table that I'll probably call EMS to take
Okay.
it. And I don't know if we don't use it, there's a real long table no one will want, whether we just offer it up for in-house bids. The state used to do that, because it's decommissioned, have an in-house bid, I don't know. And no one will probably, because these are long tables.
Unless you guys need a board table at the landfill or something.
We'll ask.
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming you're gonna do what you usually do, like put the word out and see if anybody needs any of this stuff.
I will try to share, and if you guys want anything, but if that's okay with you, I'll go ahead and get that done, because they
Yeah.
want that out of there.
All right, thanks for the update.
Thank you.
Courthouse exterior project, we have a meeting on Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, we're hemorrhaging money. I've called, I think.
We are, or they are?
Well,
I'm gonna say, we don't hemorrhage money unless there's a change order.
Right.
well, the railings came in, the bronze railings.
Yeah.
It was, the bill was $300,000 for the month, and I said, this can't be right. It was a combination of two. I had a heart attack. And so Shelley and I talked yesterday and this morning. I've called Friends of the Courthouse. We're gonna meet tomorrow morning, and they're sitting on $209,000. We need to push some of that money over to us,
Mhm.
because,
But it's, you said you were hemorrhaging money,
I
but if
feel
it's part of
like
the
it.
contract.
It is.
Right, it's part of
it
the
is.
contract.
It is. It
It's just
just
a matter
feels
of-
like it. It's just
I
all
have a feeling though,
coming.
as things start moving faster, we're gonna have more requests for payment, right?
Well, yeah, and we're finding, seems like you dig into something, you find something. Now, the windows are moving very quickly. They've got a lot of new staff.
And Diane, I wanna let you know, I went down to the, under the portico, and it's damp.
It's
again.
damp now.
We haven't had
It's real
rain, and
dry.
it looked the exact same way it did when I was down there before. There's water coming in somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from. I mean, it's not like wet, like soupy, but you touch the ground, you can tell it's.
Oh, well, that will be from the ground up.
Well, if there's no water, that shouldn't be happening. It didn't happen
Oh, yeah.
before.
Condensation and
It's
humidity.
not happening on the other side though.
I did clean down there.
Humidifier.
Is it still real dirty?
Um,
I did clean a whole bunch of hose out, and I drug all the stuff I could
It
carry.
looks better, but the stuff is definitely
Oh, we
leaking
know
out.
that.
But the
There-
dampness is what concerns me. Also, there also seems to be some fresh cracks.
Well, the architect said that it has nothing to do with the weight.
Okay,
Of his last.
So, yes, but he had his engineer come in, or was it the same engineer that we paid to look at the other stuff?
Raker Rose, the engineer that's been doing all of the
Yeah.
engineering.
They said that
Structural
it
engineering.
has nothing to do with the wall or with the ramp. It's,
Can we get that in writing?
I believe we already did.
No, I mean,
he did it in the.
like an official document that says that there's no structural
I'm pretty sure we
issues.
received one of those. We can talk about that Tuesday during our
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
Comp plan revision.
Our next meeting's not till July. They were giving their marching orders on what to do, so we are hoping that, we'll have more stuff to give to you guys at that point.
Okay. All right, ordinance review and update, kind of following comprehensive plan, I believe.
Ryan, you just keeping your long list of ordinance improvements?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Can I ask, Brian, all these railroad box cars that they're pulling in, are those taxed? And they use them for like buildings, are those taxed, or are they just,
I don't know. I can't say that we've permitted any of them. As far as the taxation of them, I know for a fact that the one that built the house out of them, that is taxed. But as far as if somebody just pulled it on and are using it as storage, I'm not made aware of that. They should be pulling permits for them if they're putting them on the ground.
Especially if they're using it to live in.
well, he's taxing the lived-in ones, but there's quite a few, I can think of two, that are pulled in and they use them as storage or maybe even animal shelter, but as agricultural, but there's no tax on it.
Does our ordinance require things to be attached to the ground in some way in order for it? It doesn't, okay. It just needs to be resting on there and in use, okay.
Yeah, even a structure that's on skids, if it's over a 10 by 10, a building permit or zoning certificate shall be obtained.
Okay, all right.
They're not.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Okay, anything else? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So,
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, everybody.